Welcome. You're watching a Stetson Law special event focusing on the LL.M degree in Elder Law. Using Ustream's chat feature, you can have your questions answered in real time. Your hosts today, co-directors of the Center for Excellence in Elder Law, Rebecca Morgan and Bobby Flowers. Also on today's program, Assistant Dean of Admissions and Student Financial Planning, Laura Zuppo. Thanks for watching, and now here are your hosts.
Hi, I'm Becky Morgan, and with me is the co-director of the Elder Law program, Bobby Flowers, or as we like to call ourselves, we're the dynamic duo of Elder Law. We're here today to talk to you a little bit about our online LLM and Elder Law and answer any questions you may have.
Hi, it's great to be here to chat a little bit about what we think is the best LLM program in the nation, and to talk a little bit about what you might want to do and what you might want to consider as you think about an LLM. So Beck, why would somebody choose Stetson for your Elder Law LLM?
Well, I think that there are a number of reasons why people are considering the LLM, and I say this based upon the responses from our graduates. There are individuals who are looking to change their practice area. You know, they may be in estate planning, they may be in corporate transactions, and they're intrigued by elder law, and this is a way for them to get up to speed. And so we may have some very experienced attorneys who are just not experienced in elder law. Mm-hmm. We also have had some incredibly experienced elder law attorneys taking the program, and they're doing it because it either reinvigorates their practices or it helps them expand their practices, because, as we'll tell you, we take a very broad view of the definition of elder law. Mm-hmm. And then we've had some people who are newer attorneys who want to get that credential, and it will help them really with marketing, I think. Mm-hmm. And to some extent, some people right out of law school who maybe think that this is the way they want to go, they know this career path, right, and they want to get that credential.
Yeah, and I think what's great about our program is that we try to combine not only the very academically strenuous program with a very practical program. I know that in my ethics class, we like to create policies. So we're talking about the ethical rules, but then we want to create the policies to get the whole staff to be following the ethical rules too. So we try to have the students come away with not only the ability to think about elder law, but to actually do elder law. So it's a fun combination, I think, for learning elder law. And as you said, some people are kind of moving out of one area of law into elder law, and this is a great way to kind of jumpstart into that area, a new area of law that they might be interested in.
Yeah, and one of the things that I always get excited about is that the feedback we get from our students is that they're able to apply immediately to their practices what they're learning, because this really is designed to be a part-time degree so that we anticipate that the students in our program are practicing attorneys. And so, they get to use what they're learning and in their practices, and that's really exciting.
I know. It's been really fun too to have people from all over the world, right? I mean, we've had people from Alaska and Hawaii, and it's always funny if we're online, because remember, the LLM program is a totally asynchronous LLM program, which means that with the exception of the Special Needs Trust, which we can tell them about in just a few minutes, you can choose whatever time you want to do it. So sometimes I would be, at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I would be talking to somebody in Hawaii, and they hadn't gone to bed yet the night before. So it was kind of fun to have people from all over the country. One of the fun things about that is to learn about how elder law is kind of practiced in different areas of the United States, right? So we get to hear about how does it work in a small town? How does it work in a big city? How does it work in Utah? How does it work in New York City? So it's really fun to kind of interact with different people from different parts of the country and to talk about elder law.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, with the exception of the Special Needs Trust Conference, which is the in-person course, all of these are online. Mm-hmm. And if you've never taken an online course before, I think the plan is we'll show them a little bit of just a snippet of what it looks like. We use Blackboard as our learning platform, and what our students get for every week They'll have reading assignments, they'll have lectures, and then they'll have a discussion board. It's a virtual classroom. And like I like to tell my students, it is like a real classroom, except we're just not calling on you in real time. And so there's some real advantages, I think, to maybe just showing them a short clip in terms of what they see. And then we can talk about how you run your class, how I run my class, and what they can get from that.
Great idea. Why don't we run that video of our own Professor Morgan in her intro class?
It'll be short.
Hi everybody. I want to welcome you to the semester and to my class, Aging in the Law. This is an introduction to give you a sense of what we're going to be doing this semester. So I plan to tell you a little bit about the class, a little schedule, although we'll have that written out for you, and how you're going to be graded in this particular class.
I'm in a small practice and
That just shows you what you see in the class. What happens is you'll see the lecture and the PowerPoints. They're synchronized for you. And there's some ability to manipulate the slides you saw down at the bottom. You can change it. Change it so that I'm really little tiny, because it's always so painful to watch yourself on camera. But and Professor Flowers and I have filmed each other before, and so we always have a good time watching each other. But the idea is that you can watch these lectures. We try to do them in short increments because we don't want you to stare at your computer screen for hours at a time. So you might have 3 lectures for a week that are 30 to 40 minutes in length.
Right.
And you'll have reading assignments, and then you'll have the discussion questions. And you can go back and watch these lectures as many times as you need during the week. Now, you do your class a little bit differently in that you sequence so that they have to finish things before they can go to the next thing. You want to tell them about that?
Right. One of the things that I do in my class is what we call daisy chain. It's just the name that we have for it. And literally, when you first go on at the beginning of the week, you're only going to have like one reading assignment. And you're going to think to yourself, yes, one reading assignment, I can do that. But that's the trick. Once you've completed that reading assignment, then you click on a place that says reviewed, and the next assignment comes up. So although at the beginning of the week I tell you how many assignments you have, some students get fooled because they think they only have one. And some students are like, why do you do that? Why is that important? And the reason I do that is that I really do want you to read the assignment, because we're dealing in the rules of ethics. We're dealing with the model rules of professional conduct. And for me to talk about them without you actually seeing them is not going to make a lot of sense. So I encourage that by requiring you to do that. We also use a lot of videos in my class. And I'm going to be discussing the videos in the lecture. And if you haven't watched the video, you don't really get the hypothetical. And you may think, why is she talking about a Mrs. Carpenter? Because I've never heard of Mrs. Carpenter. Well, that's because you have to watch the video first. So I do a daisy chain to kind of encourage, if you will, students to kind of do it in some sort of sequence. One of the things you also noted, you might have noticed, is that there's a PowerPoint presentation as part of the lectures. And those PowerPoint presentations are also available to the students. So the students can be looking at the PowerPoint, writing on their PowerPoint, doing their notes, whatever way is best for them. Again, we really want to encourage students to be interacting even in the lecture, so we hope that they're taking notes as they go along.
Right. And I did mention reading assignments, and I will just tell you, because this is one of the questions we get. A few of the courses do have books, but not all of them. And a lot of the materials are done through reading assignments online, whether they're articles or PDFs or cases or statutes. And what we see is we have Westlaw and Lexis Access for our students. And so we make sure that our students have access to the materials. So you will have a few classes with books, but not all of them. And our bookstore does ship books to our students. Now, the course of study, we probably should talk about the 13-week semester a little bit.
Excellent. All our fall class and our spring classes are 13 weeks. And so what happens is that at the beginning of the week, whatever your beginning is going to be, let's say that my ethics class is going to open on Thursdays. So on Thursday, everything opens up and you have a full week to complete everything that has been assigned, including the discussion board questions, for that entire week. And then after that week week goes away and the next week is opened up. So that occurs 13 weeks. We do have some summer school classes that students can take if they want to. A lot of people opt out of summer school classes. They just want to, just do the fall and the spring. And I will suggest to you that we keep in mind the fact that you guys are going to be practicing lawyers. You're not going to be full-time JD students. So we try to keep that in mind as we are creating the 13-week curriculum. My concern, Professor Morgan, and maybe you can answer this, is if you're teaching this to people in Alaska and New York, how is it that the evidence is how is it that that's going to work?
Now, I think I got lost. Professor Flowers, could you repeat the question? What do you mean? If I have a student from New York and Alaska,
And how am I going to teach both of them if the law is different?
Well, I get you. Okay, so what I do with my students in my class is I will ask a question and then require that they answer it specific to their law, and I'll tell them specific things to look for. So, for example, when I'm teaching elder abuse and self-neglect, I'll ask them to look for certain criteria within their statute. And then they can talk about it that way. So they're learning their law, but we're not teaching them specifically Florida law. I'd like it if we could maybe talk a little bit we're not going to talk to them, but we've got some clips from some of our graduates.
Great idea. Let's watch one of those.
I'm in a small practice in southeastern North Carolina, and I attended Stetson's LL.M program in elder law on a part-time basis, working and raising my family to retool myself as an elder law attorney. Stetson and his faculty gave me an enormous underpinning that no amount of practice could have, and that is a grounds-up approach to the study of elder law. And with the 14 different subspecialties comprising elder law, that approach is absolutely necessary. The program gave me two perspectives. One, the practical aspects of running an elder law practice and the unique challenges we face as elder law attorneys. The other was a broader, overarching public policy consideration that is so integral in representing and advocating for the elderly.
Okay, I'm back now with Laura Zeppo, who is our Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid, because right now we want to talk a little bit about money. One of the questions, in fact, was the cost. As we said earlier, there's 25 credits for this particular program, 24 of which the students pay tuition, and it's $1,400 per credit hour. So Laura, because you also oversee the financial aid office, what about opportunities for loans or scholarships beyond elder law specific? Say, for example, they're veterans.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me. I really think this program has so many strengths, and the return on investment for students coming in is fantastic. Some students will choose to be cash pays, but other students would like to borrow to fund their education. And some students are also veterans. So we have two things to talk about. The first would be the federal student loan. And you would fill out the FAFSA, that good old FAFSA form that we've all filled out over the years. And what happens is the federal law allows us to actually give you, if you meet the minimum number of credit hours per semester, funding for tuition, any fees, if books are associated, as well as some cost for living if needed. Because you don't have to work as part of the program, it's not mandatory, we do know that some of our students might be in between employment and they might need a little bit of funding through loans to support them. So when you borrow, you're borrowing as little or as much as you need. Many of our students borrow part loan and then pay cash for the rest of it to really minimize their debt. Now, if you're a veteran, first of all, thank you for your service, and I'm delighted to work with you. Jennifer Fraser, Fraser, she is our main VA school certifying official. I am the secondary official. Jennifer is also our assistant director of financial aid. She can work with you on your benefits. So if you get accepted into the program and choose to enroll, you're going to want to contact our office. You can get to us either through the website or through Professor Morgan's team. And Jennifer can go ahead and begin processing your veterans benefits. And then the other thing that's very exciting is we are a this is good, a yellow ribbon sponsoring school. And what that means is that we participate in this national program to support vets. And we offer up to 15 scholarships per year. And we include our LLM candidates. Many schools are not including their LLM candidates in the Yellow Ribbon program, and we're really pleased to be able to do that. In fact, one of our LLMs this year actually was able to receive that scholarship, which is $5,000 from Stetson, and then the VA matches with another $5,000. In the end, this student's probably going to be going through the LLM full benefits with no out-of-pocket costs.
Which is great. Now,
That's wonderful.
On our website, there's information about financial aid, and there's a budget there, and that budget includes if you need living expenses.
Right.
And so I want to make sure people understand that when they look at that, they might go, wow, that's really a lot of money. That's beyond just the tuition and books. It's if they need living expenses, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Some students need the extra funding because perhaps they need to have childcare so that they can dedicate time to their LLM studies. Not everybody is comfortable doing their studies at home in their pajamas, and so they have to go out of the house, and so they might want to pay for child expenses. Other students may need the loans for just tuition. If you are in the position where you need loan aid for more than just tuition, it's there for you. And there are so many things we can tell you, but one thing I'll share about Stetson, whether you're here in person or you're here as an online student virtually, we're here to help. Please contact my office. We are happy to talk with you. We'll Skype with you if you prefer Skype, email, phone call. And when you do come to campus for the SNIT, Special Needs and Trust Conference, feel free to come by and let's put a face with a name.
Absolutely. And before you leave, Laura, one of the things on financial issues, we do offer partial scholarships for the LLM. That's not through your office, though. So while you're here, though, if you're interested in being considered for a scholarship, you submit, in addition to your application, a request for a scholarship. We do partial scholarships, not full scholarships. You send it along with your application. It can be an email or it can be a formal letter. We look at it as a holistic request for a scholarship. We do these by semester, and so we do have some partial scholarships available in addition to the financial aid Laura was talking about.
That's a great point, and I'll just wrap up with one other thought. There are also some firms that may sponsor LLM program participation, so if you are with a larger firm, you should check out your employee benefits too. We've had students over the years receive some support from their employers.
All right, and Laura, really appreciate you being here.
Thank
I know
you.
you have to go and meet with some prospective JD
I
students,
do.
so we're not going to keep you, but we do have, I think, one clip from of another grad, and then Professor Flowers and I are going to talk about the courses and how long it takes to complete the program.
Thank you.
Graduating from Stetson
Thanks.
with the LLM in elder law has given me the confidence as a young lawyer to have an area of the field of the law where I'm comfortable practicing on a routine basis and knowing that the school has given me resources to succeed. As an online program, it lets me be anywhere in the country or even anywhere in the world and be an active participant in classroom discussions, take exams, do everything that I need to do from the comfort of my own living arrangement. The LLM program in elder law from Stetson is very well worth your time and money. You have a leg up among many of your peers. While they may have a degree or they may have a background working in some judicial complex or with some agency, what this does is it gives you an academic background and understanding of what the law is, so that when your clients ask you questions, you may be better resourced to provide them with the answers that they need for their various questions.
I want to talk a little bit with Professor Flowers now about the length of the program and the number of courses, because we've had several questions about it. And so let me just start by saying that you can take a maximum of 3 courses in a semester. Because this is designed to be a part-time program. And so if you were doing the 3 classes a semester, because you take a total of 8 courses, you could do 3 in the fall, 3 in the spring, and 2 the following fall and be done in a year and a half.
Right.
But can I take less than 3? Because 3's a lot.
Yes, 3 is a lot. And we encourage people to maybe come in not at 3, but come in at less. Some people come in at 1, just to get a feel for it, to get a sense of this is right for me. This is going to make my ability to serve the elderly population way above what it would have been before this. And so sometimes we encourage students to come in and try us out, see what you think. Try one course, try two courses, kind of get your feet wet, because some of you won't have been in law school for a long time, and this is all, the technology is different, and you're having to get back into the whole academic world. So one course, two courses, three courses, the total is 25.
There's 8 courses online, and I always have to do the math. There's 8 courses online plus the one in-person course.
Right.
And I think it's important for people to remember too. Say you wanted to start out at 1 and you go, okay, I've got the hang of this. We don't lock you in other words, to that
Right.
one course. You can take 1 this semester and you say, great, and then you can take 3 the following semester. Or you may decide, you know what, my kid's getting married, or I've got a big trial in the spring, and you want to drop it down, and that's fine with us. We
Right.
just have to get done in 6 years.
Right. And I think that it's important to talk about the one course, because I think it's a really exciting course. You'll be part of the Special Needs Trust, which is Special Needs Trust Conference, which is a conference that has been going on now for 16 years. And probably Professor Morgan, and before I was even around, started the Special Needs Trust, and it's become the national place to come if you want to learn about Special Needs Trust. So as an LL.M student, you would take that, you'll learn about Special Needs Trust. That might be an area you've never thought about. Very formidable area. It's an area that's really growing across the United States. It's a place where elder law attorneys have kind of diversified their practice, and that's a place to really get your feet wet with regard to Special Needs Trust. And then we bring them back on campus so that you can see our beautiful campus in not virtually but in real, and we have special topics. Whatever's kind of the hottest topic going on in elder law that year, that's what we want to introduce you to. Because again, we want our practitioners to leave our program better able to represent elderly people. We have a lot of our graduates who end up presenting all across the country, speaking at different conferences because of their credential, and also because they really kind of know the law better than a lot of other practitioners. We have some of our graduates that go on to take the certified courses to become certified
elder
law attorneys. So it's the opportunity to really bring your practice to a new level, right? I mean, it's really about taking what you know and just really popping it up in a shorter period of time than you'd be able to do just based on experience.
Yeah, and I know that some people, we've had a question about summer school. Mm-hmm. We mentioned it earlier. You're not required to go to summer school, and depending upon the number of students going to summer school, the summer semester is half the length of the fall and spring.
Right.
And so we're basically looking at doing the same amount of work in 7 weeks. And so typically we only have 1 class in the summer. I think our very first year of operation, we maybe had 2 because we had enough students wanting to go.
Right.
But we need a minimum number of students to offer the course. But for the past few years,
Right.
it's just been 1 course in the summer. And that can help you in terms of speeding up when you're getting out, or reducing the number of courses that you have to take in a given semester.
Right.
There is a set curriculum. You can see it on the website. There's 6 required courses, and then you take 2 electives plus select topics. But one of the neat things that we do, because remember we charge by the credit hour, we actually have more electives than you need, and we allow you to audit 1 elective per semester free when you're enrolled in another course. And we actually had one student who took all of the courses because she just was that organized with her time that she was able to do that. And just because I know we had a question regarding this, is with the exception of the select topics class, which is a 1 credit course, the 8 courses, they're all 3 credits. And you pay tuition for those 8 courses. You do not pay tuition for the select topics. Somebody wants to know about our curriculum. You want to tell them about our curriculum?
Well,
I'll test you.
I know. I saw that question and was hoping that I wasn't going to be tested on it later. I think what's exciting about our curriculum is that it is really all of the area of elder law. And so if you've only been doing maybe guardianships and you've never really thought about government benefits, you've never really thought about tax issues, what's nice about the elder law LLM is that you're going to be introduced to all of those areas. And by introduced, I don't really mean introduced, because we're not talking survey courses. We're talking about, in our tax course, Professor Fergan, who's now the president of NALA, which is pretty exciting, really takes you down and dirty in the tax area. And so if that's not an area you practiced in before, now you have the ability to practice in that area. We have obviously our guardianship area. We have our ethics area. Professor Morgan does a phenomenal aging class that really takes you into the multidisciplinary area, right? Like looking at aging and all of those issues. We have, as I said, our public benefits course. We have what I think is kind of exciting is our advocacy course, which is really talking about litigation. How does one get involved in litigation with regard to being an elder law attorney? So how'd I do?
A-.
A-. I left out
Ethics.
I left out ethics, my favorite course. But again, I think it's just really exciting to say, okay, well, I've done this area of elder law for all these years, but I'd like to expand my practice. I'd like to have opportunities to increase the number of clients that I can service. And obviously, we're all trying to earn a living. And obviously, when I expand my client base, I expand my ability to make a good living in the area of elder law. And so this is an opportunity to kind of look at different parts of the elder law world and maybe expand where you've been in the past.
Right. Let me talk a minute about nuts and bolts. People want to know, if you decide that you're interested in the program, our deadline for application is
I thought you were
July 1.
referencing the faculty, nuts and bolts. Go ahead.
And so the application is on our website. There's a PDF application you can fill out and submit. There's also a way to do it online through ACES, but I don't know what ACES means, so I just say ACES.
Right.
But you can do it there. If you find that you need a little bit more time, just let us know at least that you're applying, and we'll work with you on the deadline. But we have certain things we need to do in order to get the applications in and approved and then get the students enrolled. Now, one thing people always ask, and I want to finish up with this, is that what is this worth to me? How will it benefit me? And we can tell you, and we have been telling you, why we think that this degree is a valuable addition to your practices. But we have a lengthy list of our graduates who will talk to you about how this has benefited them. How has this impacted their practices?
We're just really excited here at Stetson about our LL.M program. We think it really does take people to the next level on all kinds of in all kinds of ways. And so as Professor Morgan said, if you're interested, and obviously if you have any further questions, please feel free to email either Professor Morgan or myself at law.stetson.edu, just our last name, Flowers or Morgan. And we'd be happy to speak with you either by phone or by email or by text or even maybe by
Skype?
Carrier pigeon.
No, that's old technology.
Oh, sorry.
We only use current technology. So we really appreciate those of you who are with us today. And if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. On behalf of Professor Flowers and myself and our terrific communications and multimedia crew behind the camera, thank you so much for being here with us today. And we hope to see you virtually in our program in the fall.